Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you joining the show today, we welcome you in. The thing that we're going to talk today about is hygiene, especially in the post-pandemic world, or what hopefully will be a post-pandemic world. Still got a bad feeling about September, but things are looking up at the present time. But one thing that the pandemic has shown us is how horrible people's hygiene products actually are, or hygiene practices actually are. These are hygiene products. I'm not showing you who they are. They don't sponsor me. So anyway, growing up, I was definitely a nerd. I could play sports, I could do stuff like that, but I was more at home, you know, playing cards or rolling dice or all the playing video games, all the things that nerds traditionally did. That's where I had my real fun. And I can tell you, some people just do not understand hygiene at all, and that goes for everybody. That's not just nerds. I'm picking on nerds because I am one, so I can get away with it. The jocks, for example, they would walk around smelling like an elephant had just taken a dump underneath their armpits, and they were perfectly fine with it. There were showers available, they didn't use them. They did a study back in the 1980s about how much people wash their hands in the bathroom. And they started off, they wanted to see a full proper cycle with soap being put on the hands, their hands being scrubbed about and washed out for 10, 20 seconds. I forget what it was. By the end of the study, they were counting anybody whose hands touched the water, and it was still like 2 in 10. The pandemic, for everything bad that happened, has at least brought washing your hands to the forefront of people's minds. I really pray it stays that way. I do. Because as somebody who's had to shake a lot of hands in my life, met a lot of people, done a lot of deals. So yeah, I've shaken a lot of hands, and it's always my least favorite thing in the world to do, because whether you've just been to the bathroom, whether you just ate something, the first thing I feel when I shake someone's hand is how quickly can I get to a washroom and not be seen, because I don't want them to see me running to the bathroom. I am self-conscious about it, but I just don't like touching people's hands unless I know them very well. Because people don't wash their hands. And even after the pandemic, there are still people who are not washing their hands. This brings us to gloves. You might say, Silverlight, why don't you use gloves? Well, I'm kind of purposely staying away from gloves. If I need them, like for gardening, yes, I will absolutely use them. If I'm doing something particularly nasty, I'm going to happily put plastic gloves on. But when people went shopping and first started wearing gloves, it was disgusting. They were leaving those gloves around them, and anywhere there would be a garbage bin that the retail establishment had set aside for them, and they'd literally drop the gloves right in front of it. I know you might not want to touch that garbage bin, but at the same token, you dropping that on the floor is disgusting. And keep in mind, you're dropping that outside of an establishment. So the poor fella who has to clean the lot is not going to be able to get all of them, because the wind happens. Cars drive over them. So that little bit of rubbish that somebody has tossed away can wind up anywhere. I live in a court. For those of you who don't know, that's a street shaped like a key, and I'm right at the top of the key. So the way the wind works, almost everybody's trash winds up in my front yard. I have a McDonald's bag out front. I haven't been to McDonald's in at least 5 years, if not 10. And that's just something I deal with. People are just disgusting when it comes to throwing things out. And it's even worse, the particular McDonald's in my area has so many trash cans. I know, I used to work there cleaning up stuff in the lot and emptying those trash cans. And that was one of the nice parts of the job. Being able to go out on a nice day and do what the heck you liked and justify it. But I came across a lot of gross stuff. And in the pandemic world, that would have been a horrible job to have. Now, fortunately, when I was working, I was allowed to use gloves to open envelopes because those envelopes would go out for a week or so and we didn't know where the person had been and what they came in contact with. And they were frequently going into red zones like California and Texas. If you hear that, that's my cat. He's upstairs. He does that every once in a while. He's not hurt in the least. He's just annoyed his sister isn't playing with him. But back to hygiene. When you can't even put your gloves in the right receptacle, how lazy are you? And if you can't put your gloves away and you can't wash your hands, you fall into that horrible nerd stereotype where they're all sweaty and haven't washed and all that sort of thing. And like I said, I run into that well outside of the nerd community. So hygiene doesn't cost much. You can go to the dollar store. This is dollar store product. I'll tell you that right now. I don't know about this particular product or this particular product. Actually, I think that's official. But this is dollar store. That is dollar store. It doesn't cost a lot to keep yourself in some sort of good shape. Now, there are people with conditions that prevent them from looking after themselves. I recognize that. But those people do usually have helpers, and if they're able to get up and around and do things, then they can wash their hands. By keeping care of ourselves, we take care of the people around us. And like I said, for those who are unfortunate enough to be disabled and unable to look after themselves, there are still people who will make sure that you are clean. And you can, if you can make it to the toilet, you can wash your hands on the way out. Heck, I shave on the toilet, to be a little bit crude, but while I'm there, it isn't too much effort to lather up, and the second I'm up, I'm ready to go. Doesn't even take extra time. I mean, if you're worried about being away from your desk or something like that, it's an extra 20 seconds. Is the world going to burn in those 20 seconds? Because if so, you probably shouldn't be heading to the bathroom anyway. But I digress. Personal hygiene. That was the number one lesson of the pandemic, and it's something we need to make sure that we don't lose. Heck, my 8-year-old is a miracle. She is washing her hands like a champion. And I hope the children of the future will follow that example rather than follow our rather poor example. Now, there's sometimes it's difficult to wash your hands. If you're hiking, if you're on the trail, yeah, I understand. Water is not plentiful and it's difficult. Let's just leave it that way. So, again, in certain situations, I understand. But in a general rule in society, there's a bathroom almost everywhere. And we are an urban population. You go to a gas station, they have a bathroom. Probably won't be a very nice bathroom, but if you need to wash your hands, you can. If you're at home, you got a water faucet somewhere. Hopefully your water isn't coming from one of those horrible places like Flint, Michigan got. But just a little bit of water and a little bit of soap goes a long way. The proof is out there. Common colds and flus went down dramatically this year because people were wearing masks and people weren't touching each other. And people were washing themselves more carefully. Hand sanitizer, stuff like that. You know what? Let's not look at the pandemic. Let's look at the side effect. My friend works for a place where they manufacture cough drops. They were laying them off. And during the middle of a pandemic, they're laying off people who make cough drops because people were not getting sick. And it's simply because they were washing their hands. They were wearing a mask. Now, it's your choice whether you decide to wear a mask. I'm not going to tell you to keep wearing one because a lot of people won't. But washing your hands is definitely a choice. Using that, I don't use it personally because it dries my hands out really bad, but the alcohol hand sanitizer works. This is what we discovered. This stuff works. And in my case, since the hand sanitizer dries me out, I had those little wet naps. And I put them in my personal garbage receptacle when I got home. I didn't just throw them on the side of the road. But it's that easy. I had a bottle of water, a wet nap. There you go. Your hands are good for the till you get home. The real mysterious thing is how China, who has less than 20% vaccinations, has almost completely eliminated the pandemic within their borders. Meanwhile, over here, we're touting the vaccine as the cure. Now, I'm not telling you not to get vaccinated. I'm not telling you to get vaccinated. Personal choice. If you notice, one of the things Silverlight harps on is personal choice. I think you have a personal choice with anything regarding your body except where it endangers other people. I don't oppose people getting those weird surgeries where they wind up looking like lizards with, spikes and stuff in their eyebrows. And your money, your time, I'm not going to say no. Unless you're trying to say you have freedom to drive your car on my property. Now you're driving over my grass. I don't want you on my property. That's where our rights conflict. When your rights come to your personal body, you have complete choice. But I submit this to you. Isn't it a good choice to wash your hands, especially given how much colds and flu came down this year? Nobody likes being sick. Nobody likes waking up, oh God, I feel terrible today. It's the price of washing your hands and keeping a bit of distance from strangers. Not your friends, not your family, just strangers. And this is what we're going to have to continue to do in the post-pandemic world. Whether it comes now, whether it comes in 2022, 2023, whatever it might be, we need to learn to use proper hygiene and keep our distance from strangers. Kind of like we were taught in kindergarten. Those same lessons, as adults, we still have to put into place. Anyway, if you like this video, leave a like, share, subscribe, and most importantly, at the Silverlight Show, we hope you all have a great